In this video, we will see about goiter. Goiter is nothing but enlargement of thyroid gland. So goiter is classified as simple, non-toxic, toxic, both of which non-neoplastic. It is also classified as neoplastic and thyroiditis. Thyroiditis, goiter due to thyroiditis means, itis means inflammation. So it can be either autoimmune origin or other inflammatory reasons. So it may also cause goiter. So enlargement of thyroid gland could be either due to non-neoplastic reasons, which include simple non-toxic and toxic goiter, either neoplastic goiter or thyroiditis goiter. So today we will see about a subtype of simple non-toxic goiter, which is multinodular goiter. Simple non-toxic goiter is again classified as diffuse hyperplastic and nodular. Under nodular goiter, you have solitary nodular goiter, multinodular goiter, and recurrent nodular goiter. In multinodular, we will see about the clinical features and other details. So it is a very often asked essay question for exam going students. Multinodular goiter is a 10-mark question. At the same time, it can also be asked as a short notes. So any question, either long or short question, you should always write a synopsis. It is same for almost all the questions like definition, classification, etiopathogenesis or epidemiology, clinical features, investigation, management, prognosis and complications if applicable. So this synopsis will not change. So for multinodular goiter, you should also draw a simple diagram for understanding. This is the normal goiter, this is normal thyroid gland, this is your goiter, and multiple nodules signify multinodular goiter. What is MN goiter? That is MNG will denote multinodular goiter from now on. MNG is discordant growth which is functionally and structurally altered thyroid follicles are present. Not only structurally, there is also functionally altered thyroid follicles. It doesn't function normally. It is presented as multiple nodules in thyroid glands. So it is just a basic introduction for a multinodular goiter. Etiopathogenesis, how it is caused? By persistent stimulation of thyroid stimulating hormone. If TSH is abnormally high or low, persistent fluctuations in TSH will act as a stimulant to the thyroid gland, resulting in diffuse hyperplasia of the gland. That is, increase in number of cells, follicles, followed by mixed areas of active and inactive lobules. So this persistent fluctuation will first cause diffuse hyperplasia, followed by mixed areas of active and inactive lobules. The reason for this is increased sensitivity of follicular cells to TSH. Because of this increased sensitivity, you see hyperplasia of cells. The active and inactive parts we saw, right? Active parts are more vascular and hyperplastic. That is how you differentiate between the active and inactive parts of the lobules. So the active part, since it is more vascular, at one stage hemorrhage will be happening. After hemorrhage, the necrosis in the center of the lobule will happen. So this starts the formation of a nodule. So the necrosis in center means the part will turn inactive. So the center of the nodules are formed. The center of the nodules, due to necrosis, hemorrhage and necrosis, it will remain inactive. The margins alone will remain active. And of course, multiple nodules will start forming. Multiple nodules with center due to necrosis, it will remain inactive. The margins will remain active. And the margins, they merge together, forming internodular tissue. This internodular tissue will remain active while the centers of the nodule will be inactive. So this is the formation of multiple nodule in multinodular goiter. So we saw the etiopathogenesis. The nodule formed, the center remains inactive, margins only active, and the many nodules formed, which results in the internodular tissue remaining active. So this is how MNG is formed. Apart from TSH fluctuation, iodine deficiency, goitrogens, that is anything with gen means it initiates thyroid enlargement. So any drug, goitrogens, dysharmogenesis, irregularity in hormones, hereditary reasons if it is present in your ancestors, growth stimulating immunoglobulins. So any other reason could cause your MNG. So the stages of MNG, we saw the etiopathogenesis, right? First is a normal thyroid gland, hyperplasia, then formation of nodules. stage of hyperplasia. Persistent TSH stimulation will lead to stage of hyperplasia. After hyperplasia, you have fluctuation in TSH, which results in the formation of nodules. So these three stages. Clinical features, commonly in epidemiology, you have to know that middle-aged females are mostly affected by thyroid problem, and especially here it is a slowly progressive. History may trace back to the from puberty, like it is a slowly progressive disease. Nodules when palpated are firm, non-tender and moves with deglutition. The deglutition part, because you should know the anatomy. Thyroid is attached to the cricoid cartilage through pretracheal fascia, which is condensed. It is also known as Berry's ligament, because of which any swelling associated with thyroid gland will move upwards with deglutition. So that is how you differentiate a thyroid swelling. Kocher's test is positive in multinodular goiter. Kocher's test is used to check the involvement of larynx. And the next part, investigation. Thyroid function test T3, T4, TSH is mandatory here. Ultrasound neck is seen. FNAC, usually from the dominant and suspicious nodules to check for malignancy. X-ray neck rim calcification is seen there. Indirect laryngoscope to check for the involvement of vocal cords. Usually indirect laryngoscope may be done before surgery to check if vocal cords are involved. Management. So here the major mode of treatment is surgery, because the condition is irreversible. No amount of drug will reverse it. Complications may be high, especially follicular carcinoma may happen, and for cosmetic reasons the surgery preferred is usually total thyroidectomy. In rare cases, subtotal thyroidectomy, but partial thyroidectomy is not preferred because recurrence is high and resurgery is hard. Post-operative L-thyroxine is must, because to prevent recurrence. If untreated, complications may be secondary thyrotoxicosis, follicular carcinoma of thyroid, hemorrhage, nodule may happen, and tracheal obstruction. The hemorrhage happens in nodule, we saw, right, because of the active and inactive parts. That is what they are telling in the complication part. So to avoid all this, it is better to go for surgery as soon as possible. Prevention of multinodular goiter can be initiated if the patient has goiter in puberty. L-thyroxine supplement can be given, and if iodine deficiency is suspected, by including iodine supplements you can correct it. Prognosis after surgery. Resurgery is really hard. Okay, so total thyroidectomy is often preferred in such cases. So this is what about thyroid gland, the multinodular goiter. We saw the definition of multinodular goiter, how it is functionally and structurally altered thyroid follicles are present. Then you saw about classification of goiter, etiopathogenesis, and how it happens, like how the fluctuation of TSH, how the persistent TSH stimulation leads to hyperplasia followed by multiple nodule formation, the active and inactive parts. Hope you remember, or you can just go through a quick recap. Then we saw about the clinical features, how it is seen in middle-aged females, how the swelling appears on palpation, the investigations, what to be done, management, surgical management, prognosis and complications. So this is all you need to know for an essay. Hope you will write this question very well in your exam if asked. So all the best. Do well on your viva also. See you in the next topic.